The thing no one ever tells you about storyboards is that you don't have to be able to draw like some professional animator, you don't have to sign up for some expensive subscription, and you don't have to do it the same way everyone else is doing it. As long as you have a format that works for you and helps you plan your videos much better, then go with that one. You don't have to copy what everyone else is doing. Now, there's nothing worse than scrubbing through a video project and realizing you have 20 seconds of voiceover and not much happening on screen. It's quite stressful because you're running around at the last minute trying to find content to plug in this blank space in your video. The whole point of a storyboard is to help you turn your script or your general concept into a set of step-by-step instructions that describe what's going on in your video at any given point in time, and it also contains instructions to describe how you're going to actually do that. By keeping it organized, a storyboard helps you focus on being creative and making the best video that you can, rather than running around dealing with one crisis after another like some sort of demented chicken. A storyboard is also a great way of getting client approval for a project before you start working. You know, you have certain clients who are really good at visualizing what it is you tell them, but other clients need a little bit of hand-holding and they need things to be presented to them in a visual format and step-by-step what it is you're actually doing. Now, with a good storyboard, whether it's text-based or visual, you have something that you can give to the client that helps them understand the vision that's going on inside your super creative noggin. Another benefit of a storyboard is that it makes it easy to get feedback and approval from the client early on in the process, when it's still easy to make changes and you haven't committed too much time to it. Now, this last point alone makes doing storyboards really worth the effort, because there's nothing worse than spending a couple of weeks or even a couple of months on a video, putting all this effort in and producing a really cool video and sending it to the client for review, and then they send you an email back on, we don't like this, this isn't what we had in mind, this doesn't really capture the message we wanted to communicate. At that point, you're screwed, because you can't unbake a cake. So often what you'll have to do is tear the video apart, or maybe just start it again from the beginning, which no one wants to do, and it makes you look bad, it stresses everyone out, and you probably miss the deadline and lose a client. Now, you might be thinking, God, it sounds like project management stuff. I'm a creative, I don't do paperwork, like you can't put a timeline on creativity. And you might be thinking, is this extra work and is it worth it? Well, yes, it is worth it. It's definitely worth it, and you'll thank me for it later. Okay, let's assume I've managed to convince you that producing storyboards is actually a good idea. The reality is that even though every video producer worth their salt uses them, there's no universal way of doing it. Now, this is a mixed blessing, because on the one hand, when you're trying to figure out how to do a storyboard, there's no standard to aim for and no standard to learn how to use. But on the other hand, because there's no standard, you can make up whatever format you want as long as it works for you. This also means that your storyboard can be completely text-based, or it can be visual, depending on who you're working with, the type of video you're producing, or whether you're working with a team or just yourself. Now, I've tried lots of different tools to create storyboards. Some were very fancy, some were very basic, but these days I tend to use Word and PowerPoint. Don't laugh. Just don't laugh. It's rude. Now, if you're dealing with customers or colleagues who are good at visualizing things, or if you're just producing a storyboard for yourself, you can make do with a text-only version of a storyboard in Word. Now, in this kind of storyboard, I set the page to landscape orientation with narrow margins, and then I add a table with columns for scene, voiceover, and multimedia or visuals. Now, the columns you have are going to depend on the kind of video that you tend to make. Now, you might make different types of videos, so it might make sense to have a different storyboard template for each type of project. Now, I start by breaking my script into chunks and then pasting each chunk into an individual cell. Now, it's tempting to put big chunks of related text together, but I tend to break scripts into smaller chunks, especially if I'm going to have animations or fast-moving cuts. Now, ideally what you want to do is break the script down into shots and put one shot's worth of script in a single cell. Now, on projects where you have interview footage or lots of talking head footage, these chunks can be bigger because the shots themselves are going to be longer and there's going to be less variation in the content. You won't have as many changes on screen as you would with an animated video. Anyway, I group my shots into scenes using the first column, and depending on my mood, I'll either number the first shot in the scene and leave the rest blank, or I'll number each shot with the scene number and a second identifier like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 or 2A, B, C and so on. The whole point is to make it easier to find a particular shot in your storyboard without having to do much reading or searching. Next, I do the most important bit, which is explain what's supposed to be happening on screen. Now I'll describe the kind of music that I want playing, what visuals I need, or any animations or effects that are going to go into a particular shot. Now the descriptions should be added in the order they'll appear on screen. Now sometimes I'll paste a picture in here or a link to a video, whatever it is I need to remind myself of what it is I'm planning to do. And while I'm producing the video, as I complete each shot, I color code each row just to make it green so I can see exactly what I've done and how much more I have to do. There's nothing better for making you feel like you're actually getting somewhere on a project than a storyboard that's full of green rows. Creating a visual storyboard in PowerPoint is really useful if you want to share it with a client, and it's even more useful if that client needs help visualizing content that you tell them about. Now it's probably not as compact or as easy to use as a text-based storyboard in Word, but it's a useful collaboration tool and it does help you get over those humps of selling your ideas or pitching your ideas to customers. Now with this type of storyboard, you use the notes pane to write the script as well as any production notes and explanations that you might have. You can then use the main slide either as a sort of mood board with images and videos showing what you're aiming for, or you can create simple animations and layouts to show what's going to be on screen. Now when it comes time to share the storyboard, you can either send the file directly to the client along with some notes on how it all works, or you can save the file as a PDF with the notes displayed and then send that instead. And that's it. Before we fade to black, just remember that first and foremost, a storyboard is a tool to help you work better. It's there to help you be more organized and work more systematically. So that means you own it. You can customize it and do it whichever way you want, as long as the information is in there that helps you work to the best of your abilities. So whether it's helping you work more efficiently or whether it's helping you pitch ideas or get feedback from clients, use a storyboard whichever way works for you and your particular context. And don't over-engineer it or you'll never use it. Make sure there's enough flexibility in there that it can adapt to whatever project you're working on, and make sure that you will actually find it useful. So if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or if there's anything you want me to cover in a future video, just let me know, and until then, take it easy.